Hello, everyone. I want to start this podcast with just a little gratitude, a lot of gratitude, actually, as we have come through this spring equinox. I'm feeling incredibly grateful to Source and to Spirit just for what I have come through and where we are now, where I am now. Maybe you feel the same way. I feel like things are just easily available at this point. Things are moving with a lot more ease. Things are clearing out that need to clear out very simply, very cutthroat even, and then progressing forward in the ways that are taking me to that next level. I feel it energetically. I see it. It's happening, and it's beautiful. And so I want to express some gratitude for that and gratitude for where you are. If this is what you're feeling, if this is where you're going, welcome, amazing. Let's do this. We're all in this together, you know. I think right now either you're falling into a timeline of like you're up leveling, you're flushing forward quick and in a sovereign fashion, or you are getting madly hung up and confused, and probably really harshly confused at this point if you are going against your soul and out of alignment in any way in your journey. So one of the things that Spirit brought forth with me with this this ceremony I had with myself in Spirit was to just follow my North Node, quite simply. If you've ever had your chart read, I suggest it. I highly suggest it. I highly suggest you getting it read in Sidereal, and we'll get into that in a minute. But my North Node, this just came to a head this weekend where it was like, you know, sometimes I've just been really noticing all the things I've been getting caught up in, getting distracted by the things that I'm trying to maybe make happen in my own way, which is we call that the ego, when we're trying to do things, right, rather than allowing things. Especially if you're feminine, and if you're feminine, this is really important. So I think that's part of the understanding, and what we're coming to is, as a society and as this new timeline of understanding, energetics, in growth and expansion, is really beginning to understand the properties of feminine and masculine energy. I've talked about this for a long time, but it's really coming to a head where I know these are the things we need to be speaking on. Why? Because it's going to shift and change generations to come. If we can begin to understand from an inside perspective what it truly means, the characteristics of masculine energy and feminine energy, and how that both operates within ourselves, right, together with Source, but also how it works in relationship, right, or in partnership with man, woman, right, a feminine and a masculine energy. Because all these things are not taught. We haven't been taught these things. We've been taught very, well, obviously we all know it's been very inverted, and a very inverted version or a distorted version of what masculine means and what feminine means. And it's gotten so twisted all around that it's pointless to get into it. But part of my mission here, I would say, this is what Spirit brought to my attention during ceremony yesterday, was to really bring this forth in a new way. Because we're all capable of it. There's no fancy figuring it out. There's no in-depth studies of ancient text and different religions you have to do. There's none of that. This is all something we can all understand right where you are right now. It's not rocket science. This is energy. But back to the fourth node, the 10th, I'm going into my node, the North Node. Your North Node is your direction this lifetime, right? It is where kind of like you're coming out of your South Node, you are moving your lifetime. It's kind of like your purpose. That is in essence what it is. It's your purpose. And if you read in Sidereal, you're reading more of your soul purpose. And with that said, say tropical, right? Like I've known my tropical chart for quite some time, and when I look at my tropical chart, I mean my North Node is still in my 10th house, 10th house is about, like, say, it's about career or social status or community service. It's something big, and it's something not behind the scenes. It's something very in your face, right? Or not. It could be that or not. Mine was in a different constellation in tropical, say. So it was more of a behind the scenes kind of like work. It was saying that I was, to do or whatnot in life. That's what my personality, right, would be projecting. And it's just funny. I didn't really get into studying my North Node until I started reading Sidereal. But when I read the Sidereal and I found out, and it's more than just this, there's a few different layouts to my chart, and I'm just giving this as an example, is my 10th house, which is all these things we just spoke of. It's more like it would be more your career, more of your, say from a soul status, like my status, because my work is my mission. It's what I'm here to do. So it's for humanity, it's for service, it's for the embetterment of society, right? And which includes me doing all my work, because there's no fucking way I could possibly do any of this if I wasn't going through my own shadows, if I wasn't doing my own shamanic work, right? And that just happens naturally when you're in your path and you're doing your inner work and you're doing your shadow work, most important. So where was I at? Here we go. 10th house. Mine is in Leo, right? Mine is in Leo and true sidereal, okay? Which would mean basically that I'm to be like more in performance. I'm more to be out in front of people. I'm more to be speaking out, right? And being more of a leader on the forefront, right? And it's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of work. And it's really a lot of putting yourself out there, which has been, you guys, really, truly my biggest challenge my whole life. Since I was a little girl, and I remember my mom telling me I couldn't, if I didn't go out to do my recital when I was like 6, I don't know, I was 6 or 7, I didn't want to go on the stage for a dance recital. And she said, well, if you don't go out there, then you're not going to dance again. And I said, well, then I won't dance again. I'm done. Nope. So it started there, and it went on my whole life. I mean, if you know my story, you know anything about me, you would easily be able to read into this and go, oh my God. And throughout my 20s, I've always supported artistry. I've been into music my whole life since I was young. I used to write lyrics, play guitar when I was 14. I was terrified to play for anybody though, but I had one friend I played for. One friend, Lindsay Hinkle. And she was such a fan and such a supporter. However, I was terrified. I was very, if you had asked anybody me growing up, I was very shy. There was a lot to come out of. And a lot of shell to break through, right? And my challenges in my home life and as a child, and not having the support and not having the encouragement. Nobody told me how great I was. Nobody told me I was beautiful, that I was special, that I was loved. We didn't do affection. We didn't do any of that shit. So it was very challenging for me. And so all the work, I mean, it's amazing to me when I look back. But so moving forward, it's just been challenge after challenge. In my 20s, I did, perform. I did do kung fu. I used to do. There's always been things I've done where I've put myself. It's like I hate to do it, but I'll put myself out there where I have to be in front of people and have to do things, and I despise doing it. I absolutely despise it. But I've continued to do this my whole life. I used to support artistry, arts, so I would put on shows for people. Like I would make events, create events, promote events, and bring artists in that I loved and I supported and wanted to see do well. And one thing I will say, I'll never forget one of the artists one time. He was a hip hop artist, and he looks at me one day and he's like, Arlen, he's like, so when are you going to share? Like, when are you going to get up here and do this? It was like he knew, his spirit inside him just knew that there'd be no way I'd have this passion to lift people up in this sort of way, to really acknowledge their music, their lyrics, their words, to know their passion, and to know, and they were all people doing something for an embetterment. This wasn't art to just suffice the ego. This was art that was supporting humanity and helping, speaking life and like conscious hip hop, right? And it started out in Christian hip hop, actually, when I started really promoting people that I felt had a story to be told that would help and benefit people. So this guy asked me when I was going to do it, and I was like, that's crazy. I'm not doing that. Well, it took some kids at a nonprofit I worked at to finally get me to write some bars and to begin to share and get on some of their tracks and whatnot. And then from there, it spiraled out, and I was in secrecy doing like studio work and recording songs, and then it was me slowly getting on stages, and it took so long. It was really hard, and even behind the mic, I mean, I was terrified. I would share my lyrics, but then I wanted to run off that stage. I didn't know how to connect. It was a lot of things going on there. And a lot of just lack of confidence. And anyway, moving into like, I won't get to, I'm dragging out, but going into like when I had my Kundalini, my last really radical Kundalini awakening, that is when spirit was very clear to me. Like, and that's when I started doing videos for YouTube, right? I didn't know who was going to see them. I didn't even know. I knew people were going to judge them. I knew people were going to look and think I'm crazy. I'm like, but then it didn't matter. Spirit was like, you're going to do this. You're going to share this. You need to share this. If it's like one person you touch, then that's what it's going to be. I don't know why. I don't know why it all ended up the way it did, but I know I'm here now. And it wasn't until a couple years later after that when I started to put myself out there and I started to do the sound and get out and do events on my own. And this means I'm doing everything from the back end to the front end, guys. And I don't think people even realize what artists have to do, or what, healers or people who are really just, your support means everything, put it that way, because we do so much to make things happen that will move your soul, right? And it's not for our ego. That's what you have to understand, especially when people are doing it from this angle in which I utilize it at, is this is part of the mission. It has nothing to do with me. It's solely what spirit wants to do through me. I'm just making it available. And according to the stars, this is my star piece. This is what I have to share, right? And my North Node, when I found out, actually helped me to really piece this together and to really seal the deal and go, you know what, it's okay for me to do this. No matter what shit people talk or what shade people throw at me, I swear, when you put yourself out there, you ask anybody who's done this in the industry. I think Cat Williams is one of my favorites to quote about people, haters or whatever. Because the more you put yourself out there, there's going to be more, of course, more reflection back and more people judging you and more people throwing their own shadow, projecting their own shadow on you. And, people can see you people are going to see you and judge you in any light they're living in. So they only see you as far as they see their own experience. So there's just going to be that. And I think once you learn to accept that and the criticism and everything, you just you don't give a fuck anymore. And it becomes kind of comical. And you just move forward. So for me, that was a huge piece. And I think, getting back into this North Node thing is really, that's what Spirit was speaking to me yesterday during the ceremony, was you have to just surrender to the North Node. And that's where everything's going to fall into place. All the things I worry about, like my love life, right? My partnership, something that I deeply desire and have need for. And I know that will happen. I think not worrying about, letting that go and letting go of worrying about where I'm to be, because that's another thing. Where am I to be, in placement as far as my work, my living status? I have just been so trying to figure it out. And Spirit's like, no, you're just going to surrender. You're just going to put yourself out there. You're just going to continue to follow the North Node and follow Spirit and follow the hits. Throw my chips in the air, right? And just go. And this, I know from experience, is always when really magical things happen. And I already feel it happening. I've been feeling it happen the past few weeks, actually, but more so now. And I'm telling you all of this because, not because I could go on and on about my own story and everything, but it's the North Node. And one more thing I'll save before I move into this next part, but I have to laugh because this is another thing. It just hit wise how spirit got me with this was you guys know I do podcast. And I put things on YouTube. I'll put the podcast on YouTube. Well, I put a podcast up. It was one of the first ones when I came back recently, and I've had a few guests. And somebody had commented. I woke up one morning. Needless to say, like 2 days prior, I had this like thought of like because when I usually I'll do podcast alone, but when I do them with people, I'm still learning, and I have tendency, because it's a conversation, I have tendency to say like, yeah, a lot. And you know, or sometimes I'll cut my people off to interject something. And these are things I noticed, and I've noticed, I'm like, oh God, I'm like, this is terrible. Like I have to like get better at this. So I'm critiquing myself, right? As we all should be doing. I'm listening to the feedback, the playback, and I'm like, oh my God, I really just got to shut up at some points. And so I noticed this, right? And so I wake up like this is a while after I noticed this. I had noticed this prior. I already knew where I needed to do my work, but woke up, had a comment on my YouTube, and it's a comment that says, in essence, it's like, this was an amazing interview. Thank you so much. Next sentence, you may want to let your guests speak more. And I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, I mean, first initial like feeling is like, oh, fuck you, because people are so funny, and it always cracks me up how people are in internet world, how they'll just say things like and critique and like be like whatever they want and not even think about it. However, if they were in your face, they probably would never do that, but it's funny. I could laugh at that. But however, I knew when they made because I already had I had already critiqued myself. I already knew. And so I could accept it, and I took it, and I was like, yeah, I know you're right. Okay, so thanks, thanks, asshole, whatever. But it's like a cosmic joke sometimes. It just reflected back. However, another thing I noticed is I thought this was actually like a day or whatever prior. I had been looking at my stats on my platform, right? My podcast platform. And I had realized that all of my highest plays were not interviews, but yet they were me speaking. Just me, no guest. Those are my highest played podcast. So in that sense, there's a cosmic joke there, because that also started making me see and feel like, well, maybe there is something really important I have to say. Maybe this is that's another part of me that was like me in my 20s, where I wanted to always put other people up that I believe in, instead of like speaking what I had to speak. And so it reminded me of that, coming all the way back around from wherever I went. It's the same thing I was doing. I just been doing it kind of in a different way. Now, what this made me realize was exactly what, and Jeffrey Cohen, if you know Jeffrey from Satsang Yoga, it's like him telling me, he makes me put a mic on when I do my events over there and do the ceremonies. And he's like, why? Because what you have to say is really important, and we want to hear you. And, I just hold so much value in that. And I thank him for encouraging me in such a way, because that's where my struggle is. See, that's where I've always kind of been like, oh God, the unsure of myself, or putting judgment on myself, or I don't know, or just let somebody else do it. But actually like putting that microphone on, or getting this podcast up, and me speaking what's on my heart, what's spirit speaking through me, that is my North Node. And so I think it's all funny. It's all like you can call it a subconscious reminder. You can call it just little gifts from spirit. But in essence, that's why I'm doing this right now. That's why I'm talking to you right now. That's why I'm telling you these stories. It's a little more about me, but also to get to the point of you guys, or you ladies, maybe if you're in a place in your life, right? Maybe you've done your tropical chart. Maybe you haven't done any charts at all, and that's totally fine. You don't need to do any charts, in essence, to move into this. Now, if you're feeling like maybe you're in a place where you're trying to find your purpose, you're trying to connect or align, not find. It's already there. It's already found. It's already you. You are whole. There's nothing missing. So I think it's more about just shifting into that alignment. And it's not until we have things in our awareness that we can really learn something, right? So if we haven't heard about it, we don't know about it. This is why I've had people come on. I've had Kyrie, the Hood Mystic, I've done interviews with him recently. He's family. I love that brother so much. And I love the way he brings things. He's real. He's raw. He's got a story, man. And I fucking love it. And then I also brought my girl Sarah Poe on. Sarah is also she's a sidereal astrologer as well, and her mission is divine purpose, and she does it through astrology and through helping people move into their soul purpose or find their alignment. And they both have different techniques and different strategies in which spirit brings forth, because they're both unique beings. But wow, I totally just skipped where I was there. So I've done podcasts with these people recently, and that's why I've been bringing Sidereal forward, right? The reason why I've been bringing Sidereal forward is because I want to bring it into your awareness. If you are in a place where you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like you need a little more, like you need a little gusto behind you, or you need to for me, getting my sidereal chart read, that's what it did for me. It was really like, I was already, I'm very much in tune with myself. And that's why I always say, like, you really don't even need anything. If you're in tune, you're already in alignment. And that's just how Spirit showed me sidereal. And because this is the way I know I need to learn things, is by feeling first and then having something confirm it, instead of rather me reading something and having and me just believing it. That's not how Spirit works with me. I think, and once you have a Kundalini experience like I've had, like, or once you've hit that point where you realize, like, there's no fucking guru in the world that could tell me anything at this point. Like, I know innately the guru lives in me. The teacher's here. So it's best, I think, to search. My point is best to search in yourself first. Tune in. Where are you at? Anyway, but sidereal for me, what it did when I actually read into this chart, or allowed Kyrie to read into my chart, he told me what I already knew, and he just gave it. What it did was sealed the deal for me and gave me that much more, like, fuck yeah, I know what I felt. This was right. And now I can just push forward knowing that I'm in this star alignment. Like, this is who I am. I can be comfortable with me. And, it's so funny. And like, I just told you this story about me kind of coming up and me my whole life and the performance, or not that I'm performing for anybody. It's actually, you have to see this from a soul level. In the matrix world, tropical world, we would say performance. Now it very well could be performance if I was doing like something like artistically, or performing like by like doing music again or something like that. Me, I rather not call it performance. I rather call it like, this is just like my mission. It's my artistry, as a star, whatever I'm bringing forth and however I'm bringing it forth. I am to be in front of people, however that may be. If it's just my voice on a podcast, if it's me doing a sound event, or being in front of people, not being scared of it, not being fearful of it, but knowing this is exactly my star value. And I think by honoring that, then it gets honored, right? But it just falls in alignment, which is where all the abundance is. It's where everything lies. That's why I don't need to worry about all the things that I was maybe worrying about before, right? Or finding myself distracted by worrying about, where's the love going to come from? Where's the partnership going to come from? Where is the home, the space I'm supposed to be in, going to come from, right? It's just following my north node and putting myself where I need to be, or what needs to be just expressed through. And for me, it's speaking to you guys. It's being raw. It's sharing my story. It's sharing what Spirit's speaking through me. Very important. I consider my words like, I don't come on these podcasts without already being surrendered to Spirit in this. Like, it's not me trying to put myself first in any way. Everything I do is to connect, and that's what we're here to do, rather than separate, connect, and speak into energy, most importantly. Speak into transformation, because that's what this tended to be my reoccurrence in my life, is the life and death process. Dying many times over, many times over. That's just shamanic in nature. So guess what? We're all shamanic. You don't need a certification. You just really need to be on the journey. Your initiations come from Spirit, not from a piece of paper. And, point blank. But needless to say, getting back to what I want to stress to you guys. Stress, maybe not such a good word, because I'm not stressing anything, but what I'd like to share with y'all is, if you feel the nudge, maybe, you can look up your sidereal chart on astroseek.com, right? Maybe put it next to your tropical, and then really get into it. There's also so much more in Vedic astrology to get into, as far as, there's the nakshatras, and there's so much more. Far more in depth and far more soul-based, because sidereal is where it's fixed star alignment, and it's where the constellations actually are. Like, if you actually put your sky watch up into the sky, you would see exactly where the moon is, when the moon's there. It's in actuality, it's what's actually happening, as opposed to tropical, which is I think it's 28 degrees off. So when you look up at the sky, as the ancients and the ancestors did, you're not going to see what people are saying is happening, right? So we have a choice to create in different ways, and through our thoughts we create. Very important to acknowledge. And I think most of you who are moving towards understanding quantum, physics more, and starting to understand energy more, you understand that it's natural alignment. And so it's very important, I feel, to begin to look into your sidereal astrology. Learn a new perception. Isn't that what we always talk about and preach, and everybody's out there saying, like, seeing different perceptions, like meditate to learn a new perception, to, in essence, I like to say, create new neural pathways. I mean, it's to grow, to expand. So if all we know is a little tiny little, we're like 1% of like 100%, like we need to know a lot more about ourselves, right? So why not check out your sidereal chart? See where your north node is. See how it is compared to the north node in your tropical. And more importantly, tune into yourself. Where are you actually at? What do you actually feel? What feels right in your soul, in your body? What are you actually good at? Where's your struggle? Because where your struggle is exactly what you need to step into. And like I was saying in my story, my whole life, oh my God, and that's not to mention the karaoke machines I was given. I used to put on performances for my whole family when I was young. Being in front of people was something I always innately, ask my mom. I told her this story the other day, and she just started dying laughing, because she's like, yeah, that's you, like in a nutshell. But there was a lot of shadow work and a lot of fears I've had to overcome, and things I've had to break through. I have done so much confidence hypnosis. I highly recommend, if you have this sort of calling in any way. And in general, we all need to grow in our confidence. That's our solar plexus, right? That's our awareness of self and our knowingness of self, our light. So build that confidence. I did a lot of Paul McKenna confidence hypnosis practices. I do it all the time. I still even do it because you're putting those thoughts into your subconscious mind and you're reprogramming yourself. And it's so important. So important. But like I said, it's taken a lot of me walking through the shamanic journey of death, of my ego over and over and over, of really doing the deep work, stepping through the fears, like where the fear doesn't exist, to get where I am. So anybody that wants to judge it or do anything with it, in that, there's always going to be people, like I said, there's always going to be people that are going to judge you, or they're going to only see you through their experience. So they might not see all these aspects of what you've been through. They just see what they want to see. And let them do what they do. It's hilarious. And the deeper you get into this work, the more it's just funny. And you just, you move along with it. But yes, find that North Node out. Start investigating a little bit more if you're really seeking to know where to go next. What is your soul purpose? How can you navigate this path? It's just another tool in your toolbox to help you navigate. Maybe give you the boost you need or the yes, I get that. Or yes, that is me. This is me at heart. These are my biggest fears. This makes sense. My tropical chart was saying that I was like an invert, that all my work would be done like behind the scenes, which I did for years. I was a massage therapist, a body worker. I work one-on-one with people. That was my biggest thing to overcome. I was comfortable there. Easy for me to work on one-on-one with people. I still love doing it. I still love working one-on-one with people because we can get so much done. But I am called to be in front of people. Biggest challenge, biggest hurdle, but it's caused me to do my greatest work, right? It's like the caterpillar struggling to break the cocoon and burst out into the butterfly. I mean, it struggles, all of the juices, the blood that is pushed through the veins, which actually extends the wings and grows the wings. And if there wasn't this struggle, the butterfly wouldn't be able to fly, right? If we just tore the cocoon open, the butterfly would just be deformed and it wouldn't have grown. So my point is, do the growth. Learn something new about yourself. Get into the sidereal. This is just an option. This is just a tool. It's worked for me, and maybe it'll help do some things for you, or just strike a new nerve, right? Open up a new pathway. So check out, if you would like, you can check out The Hood Mystic. He is one of my favorites. He's my brother, family, and he will be back on the podcast again. You can also check out Sarah Poe she does, Divine Alchemy. Her and her daughter have created lots of different courses for finding your blueprint, right? And that's all that astrology is. It's our blueprint. And our true blueprint is going to be in sidereal astrology. Our true natural happening in the now is in sidereal. Tropical is not in the now. And I'm not putting it down. I'm saying it could be a stepping stone, of course. I mean, that's what we were programmed into. But if you want to learn something new, you want to expand and grow, and you feel led, check out your sidereal. You can do it right now, astroseek.com. But if you want some help, reach out to Kyrie, Sarah, or someone you know that's studying it. So that's the podcast today. This is what I wanted to get out, and I love you guys. Thank you for letting me be me. Thank you for listening and supporting, even if it's just, just thought support. It all means something, and I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for everything in my life right now, and exactly where I am, and I hope you're grateful for where you are too, because it's right where you need to be. There's nowhere else to be except right here, right now. So feel into that. Feel into it. Feel into everything inside right now. And allow spirit to guide your next steps. Trust and know. And we're going to get more into diving into masculine and feminine energy, because there is a certain polarity we can play together as actual men and women that is a dynamic that will empower the planet, really, when we begin to act in our characteristics. If you're a man, though, that wants to be a feminine woman, then that's what you'll be. But if you're a man that wants to be in your masculine with a feminine woman, that's a different story. If you're a woman that wants to be in your masculine, then you'll find a feminine polarity. But this is how energy works. So we want to get into more how we can play into this dynamic a little more in life, and begin to truly move into the relationships that are going to be powerful and uplifting, and create value into the structure here, and in this timeline and where we're going. Very important knowledge, and I think it's something we should be taught from children up, how energy works, the science behind energy. And of course, it's always shifting and moving, and that's science. But there's so much that's not been taught and been left unsaid, and it causes a lot of confusion and a lot of just unnecessary pain and suffering, just because lack of knowledge, lack of understanding what energy really is, how it really works, masculine and feminine. And then the God spark, the God energy, the God force. So I love you guys. Till next time, check out that sidereal. Tell me what your north node is. I want to know. I'm actually very curious of everybody's north node at this point. So as within, so without, as above, so below. Love is truly all that is. So be it. You are whole. You are complete. There is nothing missing. Just how can we integrate you in? How can we bring the shadows to light? Make the unconscious conscious daily. I love you guys. Peace.